Hello everybody, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to take a look at CRISPR Therapeutics takeaways from a conference that they gave just recently last week. So I want to take a look at it in this video. And of course, we are Sunday, cloudy Sunday here in Toronto. And speaking of Toronto, quick shout out to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know if there are any hockey fans here. I'm certainly not one, but they recently won a playoff series last night for the first time since 2004. So that's about 20 years. They had not won a single playoff series since 2004, which is crazy, right? And the only reason why I know about it is because last night I kept hearing car horns and lots of people screaming on the streets of downtown Toronto. And of course, I live in the city there in downtown, but I digress here. But congratulations to, again, Toronto Maple Leafs, and maybe they advance to the next round. Okay, so CRISPR Therapeutics, Needham. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. Needham Healthcare Conference key takeaways. On April 19, we hosted a fireside chat with Dr. Sam, CEO of CRISPR Therapeutics, at the 22nd annual Needham Healthcare Conference. Below, we share our key takeaways. So before we take a look at the key takeaways, looks like their price target is about $82 a share, and right now it's about $53, $54. And they expect this company, they're saying it's a rating buy, right? So let's see why they say that. So it's an exciting time at CRISPR Therapeutics with the first ever FDA filing for a genome editing therapeutics hexacell in sickle cell disease. The rolling submission filing was completed in early April and now is within the 60-day FDA response period. There is a potential for priority review with another 6 to 9 months of review time. Management noted there's a good chance that the agency will decide to convene an advisory committee. Given that this is the first filing for a genome editing therapeutic, I don't like how they call it gene editing therapeutic. But anyways, the company is working under the assumption of such AdCom and believes that the debate may strengthen the case for hexacell. Okay, so CRISPR Therapeutics, CRISPR, now they're mentioning CRISPR. Anyways, you can tell the people that wrote this article, or at least this paper, this report here, they don't really talk CRISPR that much, right? They just use CRISPR as a word here to define the company. But anyways, CRISPR expects pretty similar requirements, excluding US and in individual EU countries. Okay, so CRISPR intends to have sufficient capacity at launch. The company has already started working with qualified treatment centers, okay, and is working on reaching out to more. Management doesn't expect to restrict it by inventory, given that this is a vector-based therapeutic. However, bottleneck will be manufacturing, as this is complex cellular therapeutic. The company expects to be able to support initial patients coming through and anticipate additional capacity to come online with increased demand. CRISPR believes demand growth may surprise to the upside. The company's manufacturing philosophy relies on a hybrid model, which in-houses earlier clinical assets, but is considering the use of CDMOs when running at scale. This enables flexibility to match changes in product demand. Okay. And this is the most important part, I think, from this article. The recent ICER, I don't know what ICER is, report was supportive. I really dislike when these articles, they use acronyms, and I guarantee you the person writing this article or this report doesn't even know what this acronym is. I can tell it just by the fact they didn't define it in this report. When you don't define an acronym, it's because you don't know what it stands for, in my opinion. Anyways, the non-final draft of the final report of pricing cell gene therapies in sickle cell disease reaffirmed a high price of $2 million as justifiable. We believe this strengthens the hand of Vertex CRISPR in potential future payout negotiations on pricing of hexacell. So $2 million, I think it is definitely justifiable. I mean, you look at Bloomberg at 2.7, was it a million? And that's not even CRISPR. That's not even a one-time treatment as CRISPR Therapeutics promotes anyways. I would sort of say 2 million is like the bottom, in my opinion. I'm looking more 3 million. Look, guys, we want as many patients enrolled. This is why governments have to get involved. This is why insurance companies have to get involved. There's going to be many players here to fund this. But this is not a charity, right? These companies are not running a charity, right? They have to justify all this R&D. Like CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex have already poured well over a billion. I would say about $2 to $3 billion at this point just on this program, right? And yes, they can make this up long term, but they still gotta invest in manufacturing in the short term. So this is not a charity, right? And obviously there's a huge difference between 2 million and 3 million per patient. I think everybody with a common sense could see that that's going to change the whole perspective of how to price this company, CRISPR Therapeutics, anyways. And of course, at the end of the article here, the tag patients being treated with allogeneic CAR Ts tend to be sicker than their autologous CAR T counterparts. Okay, so this is the CAR T programs, which we're not so bullish in this channel, more because I'm more looking at Caribou's programs when it comes to CAR T, but look at here, it says maybe you'll see autologous CAR T cells of sustained efficiency, 30 to 35% long term, with consolidated dosing of CTX110, which is an ongoing registrational study. The company is even more optimistic with regard to the second generation of CTX112, which includes novel edits originase 1 and TGF-BR2. A recent publication from Carl June's lab shows deletion results a more robust T cell population with enhanced central memory phenotype. Over time, management expects with the successful allogeneic CAR Ts will move to earlier lines of therapy and will be used more broadly given their much more simplified supply chain. So I would argue CAR T cells is not really the reason why I'm valuing CRISPR Therapeutics such a high position in terms of biotech, in terms of genomics. I think it's great that they're venturing into it. I mean, they're pretty serious on it. I believe they have the most patients dosed in the CRISPR landscape when it comes to CAR T. I think Caribou's at second, and they have just about 6. I think was it sample size 6 or 9? Was it? I think it was 6 so far. So of data we have. So they obviously have good amount of data, but whether or not, I believe it was just about average, if not slightly above average, from what I recollect from looking at the CTX data there. But of course, they have new generation of CTX 112, like they said. They have 113, I believe, but 130 was it, but nonetheless, they're I'm really excited for CRISPR Therapeutics, guys. I'll be honest with you, I am really excited, guys. I think this part here where they just recently submitted the rolling submission filing for the FDA. The FDA has about 60 days typical response. Probably will be a little bit more just by the trends of the FDA these days. There's a potential review with another 6 to 9 months of review time. I think they're gonna take their time. I think the FDA is gonna take their time. They have to take their time, right? This is the first time ever that they're reviewing a genome editing using CRISPR, and with all that mainstream media about genome editing. I mean, especially after the pandemic, if there's anything the FDA wants to do is take their time to take a final decision. I don't see them rejecting it. I don't see them declining it. The data is good. I mean, I just got a message yesterday. Someone asked me, how can I see the data of CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex? And I told them, I mean, the data is amazing. You don't even need to see it. Just take my word for it. This is amazing. I mean, we have, for the first time ever, a one-time potential cure rather, to sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. It's never been done before. So if you have that and there's no alternative, then to me, I mean, yeah, obviously we're going to look at the data, but once the data shows that we've potentially cured them, that's it. We move forward. I mean, there's no point of wasting time at that point, right? But I'm not saying that the time from the FDA is to reject or accept it. I think it's more about making sure that they're looking at every single angle in terms of the regulatories. People have to be reminded that the FDA is there to serve citizens. They're not a business, as per se. They're not like a private business. They're public. They're meant to address citizens' concerns, citizens' needs. And for every one of us that are pushing this to be FDA approved in the US, you can bet that they're probably an equivalent amount of people being afraid of such technology, right? But I think it starts with education, starts with looking at data, starts with looking at scientific data. And then you build on top of that, right? There was a time, I've said it many times, this analogy, but over 100 years ago, there was a time where electricity was deemed to be demonic, right? It was deemed to be evil. It was deemed to be the end of society, end of communities, electricity. And today, fast forward 100 plus years, can you even see yourself living without electricity? I mean, this whole thing is powered by electricity. So just think about that, right? So, I mean, you can make the same analogies with the internet, right? I remember the internet in the early mid 90s, it was, people, the average person was looking at it as if it was for like the dark net people, and it was for like thieves, and it was obviously for 18 plus years old content. Like, and like fast forward today, I mean, our lives depend on the internet at this point, right? Our jobs depends on the internet, the ability to communicate over space and time, right? So there's so many other technology, television, right? There's so many other things out there. So anyways, I'll end this video like this, guys. As always, subscribe if you're not, like this video if you have value, and I'm about to go to my hot yoga class this morning. So I'll see you guys during the week. Have a beautiful Sunday morning and evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.